Tonight, murder charges tossed for Kurt Churchill, accused of killing James Cody in 2020. That story, plus.
It's been almost 6 years since Chantel John was brutally murdered at a family home in Conn River. Today, her killer, Kirk Keeping, received a life sentence and will not be eligible for parole for 16 years. That story tonight on Here and Now.
The mayor of Sunnybrook has some ideas about what this place could be.
We would not object to seeing, like we see in other places, in every other province, a casino at the bottom of that hill.
I'm calling Connors at Marble Mountain, where other politicians weigh in on the eve of government trying to sell this place again.
And what has washed up in Placentia Bay? There's some sort of mystery goop on the beaches. We'll take a closer look.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Heather Gillis, filling in for Carolyn Stokes. Our top story tonight, charges for a St. John's man accused of murder have been tossed because it took too long to get the trial going. Kurt Churchill is accused of shooting and killing James Cody on Craig Miller Avenue 4 years ago. Here and Now's Malone Mullen has the story.
It was mayhem that shocked a quiet St. John Street on a July morning in 2020. A brazen shooting that left 47-year-old James Cody dead in the middle of the road. Almost a year later, Kurt Churchill was arrested and charged with second-degree murder for that slaying. But on Thursday, a Supreme Court judge tossed the entire case out, arguing that Churchill's right to a speedy trial had been violated by prosecutors. Churchill has been out on bail for much of the last 3 years. He was supposed to stand trial last fall, but problems with disclosure meant Churchill was forced to hire new lawyers. That delayed the trial and pushed the case well past its 30-month limit. He made what's called a Jordan application to have the charge stayed because of that delay, and this morning, a judge granted it, effectively relieving him of the accusations against him. The decision was met with anger by the victim's sister as it was handed down this morning. Carolyn Pitcher called out in the courtroom, "Money talks, murderers walk." Pitcher told reporters she was tired of a justice system that would let a man walk free on a murder charge without ever having to stand trial. Churchill isn't a free man, though, and wasn't at Supreme Court today to celebrate. He's currently in custody in Toronto, facing several more unrelated charges, including sexual assault. Malone Mullen, CBC News, St. John's.
Still with news from the courts, the family of Chantel John found closure in a Grand Falls Windsor courtroom today. A judge ruled that her killer, Kirk Keeping, will not be eligible for parole for at least 16 years. Here and Now's Troy Turner reports.
The sentencing of her killer is now over, but the community of Conn River will always mourn the death of Chantel John. But knowing her killer will spend at least 16 years behind bars brings her family some closure.
They probably never recover. It's going to be always memories, and you'll be always thinking about it, but we will. We know justice has been served. It
was an emotional end to a years-long saga that began with 28-year-old John's murder in 2019. Justice Glenn Knoll read his 42-page decision before a packed courtroom this morning.
Some relief, I guess, as such, but still, we cannot get Chantel back. She's gone. So really a lot of different emotions right now.
In his decision, Knoll said there was no room for vengeance in Canadian law, and the sentence must be proportionate to the gravity of the offense. He also said this country has a serious problem with intimate partner violence.
Mixed emotions, sleepless nights, thinking each day how much she suffered. And, that's her last moments, like she was saying, just let me go. And she ran for her life. So all that goes to your mind every day.
They'll never, ever see her again. They'll never hug her again. They'll never cry with her again. They'll never see her do anything again. So it's an incredible feeling that stays with you forever. And to lose a loved one in that violent way, no one should ever go through that. No one.
Mizelle Joe, the traditional chief of the Mi'kmaq band, also feels for the Keeping family.
From the community side of it. I watched my family. There was Toby and Jennifer, part of my family. And, I guess it's closure, I guess, today to some degree. And it'll never be closure because a young girl lost her life and a mother lost her son in a way. So there was a mixture of many emotions for me today.
For the Crown Attorney's Office, this day has been a long time coming.
From the time of the offense to today's date, 5 years, 8 months, there was a lot going on. We had a preliminary inquiry. We were set for trial. Mr. Keeping had some issues with counsel that he was trying to sort out through the Supreme Court of Appeal, and then ultimately he asked the Supreme Court of Canada to look at it. It just took time to get to where we are today.
In addition to the life sentence, Keeping will also be subjected to mandatory DNA testing and will receive a lifetime prohibition on firearms. Troy Turner, CBC News, Grand Falls, Windsor.
The Nunatuavut Community Council is once again under fire from Innu and Inuit governments in Labrador, who say the group is a settler organization engaged in Indigenous identity fraud. The Innu Nation is boycotting Expo Labrador, a major trade show in Happy Valley Goose Bay, because organizers say it included Nunatuavut. Nunatuavut says they represent 6,000 Inuit in southern and central Labrador, but both the Innu and Nunatsiavut dispute that. Late last month, Nunatsiavut said they wouldn't participate in the Northern Lights Business Conference in Ottawa if Nunatuavut was included. Organizers ended up canceling that event completely. Now the Innu Nation is making a similar move in central Labrador.
We don't want people in the table joining them that are promoting themselves, because they are taking our opportunities and harming our rights for the future of our children, especially our land claims.
In a statement, Nunatuavut said they hope there's a time where they can again come together with their fellow Indigenous leaders in Labrador to strengthen relationships and work to address shared priorities. Meanwhile, Expo organizers say they're focused on other things.
As a business association, as someone who, an organization that's hosting an economic development event, we're really happy about the mix of businesses who are here, and we're really happy about the commitment that people have made to come here and create partnerships, have really good discussions, listen to what is happening here, learn how they can support. So we're quite happy with the turnout, and we're really focused on who is here.
To the West Coast now, where a local mayor says the province should have consulted them about selling Marble Mountain. The deadline to submit an offer for the resort is tomorrow. Meanwhile, some local politicians think they know what could make Marble shine. Here and Now's Colleen Connors reports.
The carved slopes in the lush mountain frame the roof of the Steady Brook Town Hall. In a lot of ways, Marble Mountain makes this entire town. And the mayor believes the troubled resort still has great potential, with an idea that has a history of controversy in Newfoundland and Labrador.
We would not object to seeing, like we see in other places, in every other province, a casino at the bottom of that hill. Why would we not have a casino? I mean, we're talking about making money. Casinos are money makers.
Multiple governments have repeatedly refused to sanction a casino in this province, but Dawson says a casino was just an idea to turn the ski resort into a 24/7 moneymaker that would benefit the Humber Valley region and towns all across the West Coast. He thinks there are investors here with deep pockets that government should be recruiting. And while he was content to see the province issue an expression of interest, the timing, late August before a long weekend, was bad.
We were thinking it might come a little later because, when it comes out, anything coming out on a Friday afternoon, late in summer, a week before a long weekend, and then it has an expiration date that would challenge milk. I mean, it's a little concerning, but we're in the process, okay? And so we have to make the best of this process.
He and other mayors on the West Coast were feeling left out of the process. So much so, they drafted this letter to the Premier, saying government's short-term subsidies to keep Marble running are not efficient solutions. The province first tried to sell the hill in 2018, but only received 3 submissions. Tony Wakeham calls the attempt to sell Marble again poor planning.
Somebody in St. John's be sitting behind a desk cannot make a decision about the future of Marble Mountain.
He says there's no reason the resort would sell now, after the province spent years trying to offload it.
For 9 years, the Liberal government has failed in their attempts to get an investment for Marble Mountain to turn this into a year-long resort.
Both politicians agree that this place is an economic driver that employs a lot of people and needs a good investor. Now, Dawson is willing to see what comes out of this most recent attempt to buy or sell the place. The deadlines for expression of interests is tomorrow. Colleen Connors, CBC News, Steadybrook.
And the clock is ticking down to a possible Air Canada shutdown. On Sunday, both the company and its pilots will be in a position to give a 72-hour strike or lockout notice. At the St. John's International Airport, some concerned travelers spoke to Here and Now's Peter Cowan about the situation.
How worried are you about the potential of an Air Canada strike?
It's quite worrisome because I'm here and how will I get back? It's a little far to walk. I wouldn't mind an extended stay, but it would be a little bit too costly, I think.
Well, we're not focusing on worrying about it, and I hope it plays to the form of getting close to the brink and then settling, because it matters to a lot of people.
So how much do you travel for work?
I travel every single week for work. I could be anywhere across North America.
And so how much potential is there for the Air Canada strike to impact your job?
Well, given that I fly out every Monday and come back home every Friday, it would stop me in my tracks.
I'm pretty worried because I'm here for one conference and I'm flying on the 16th to another conference, and I feel that I might get trapped in one place or the other.
So did it make you a little reticent to make this trip? Did you consider canceling?
No, I looked at the options and it was either rebook outside the dates that I had to travel or just test your luck. So I'm testing my luck.
My particular trip, there's one other flight I could potentially get, but it's literally quadruple the cost. So I'm not super looking forward to going down that avenue, but I mean, if it's something I have to do, then something I have to do.
And there are blobs of something along beaches in Placentia Bay. The substance turned up about a week ago, and there are still no answers about what exactly it is. Todd O'Brien with the broadcast headed to Gooseberry Cove Provincial Park with concerned resident Stan Tobin.
How would you describe it?
Doughy, like half made bread. Smells like very strong smell of vegetable oil off it.
And is there any theory about where the stuff came from?
Risky to say now. I had environmental response, Coast Guard came out and took some samples there for a couple of days ago. And they sent it to, I believe, the lab out at Mon or in Newfoundland anyway. They haven't gotten anything back on it. But judging by the way it started to appear on the beaches originally, it seemed like it was a pretty local, like Placentia Bay discharge, and but it was a significant amount. I mean, that didn't go down somebody's kitchen sink or anything like that. It was probably a commercial thing. And if you look close at it, it's not something that's going to float away very easy because it's starting to, to pick up sand and rocks and everything mixed with it. So, a high tide is not going to clean up the beaches here. It's going to just bury it.
Yeah, it's not something that's just going to rot or blow away.
That's true. Yeah.
How widespread is this?
Well, it's from, as far as I know, it's from Ship Harbour. It's probably 50 miles along the coast back that way. Argentia, Point Verde, Little Barsby, Big Barsby, Ship Cove, Gooseberry Cove. And I don't know about how far out towards Cape St. Mary's, but I guess there's some out that way too if it's here.
What do you think should happen with all, at this stage?
Well, I think that identifying what it is has been pathetic. That should be done now, And that's the logic that the responsible government departments or agencies are using for, you know, we haven't made a clean-up attempt because we don't know what it is. You know, so go find out what it is. I mean, it shouldn't take as long as it's taken.
So I got these Michelins on there. It's a great all-around tire, really great in the rain, but extremely sticky at the same time.
Drivers are gearing up for Targa 2024. They hit the streets on Saturday. We'll hear from some of the racers. That's ahead.
Well, tomorrow looks beautiful. Weekend looks a little wet. We'll talk all about it when I come back.
Thatcher.
And I'm Trevor.
And we're heading to Yosemite to try to climb El Capitan.
We'll tell you all about it in a little bit.
Well, that story looks really cool, doesn't it?
It sure does.
And Ashley, you said that tomorrow's looking lovely, but a little bit of weather on the way for the weekend.
Yeah, so we've got we're sitting under a nice big ridge of high pressure at the moment that is keeping a beautiful sky out there for most of us. Let's take a look at what's going on across the province. So temperature-wise today, it's pretty nice. We saw daytime highs topping out in the upper teens, low 20s for most of us. 21 degrees in Terra Nova this afternoon, 20 in Badger. Up across Labrador as well, Lab City sitting at 20 degrees this afternoon. As you head towards the coast, though, those temperatures a tad cooler, anywhere from 10 to 13 degrees this afternoon. And where we're sitting now isn't really a whole lot different, down to about 8 in Nain, still 20 beautiful degrees in Lab City, which is well above where you should be sitting this time of year. And we're right around where we should be sitting across the island, temperatures in the upper teens right now as well. So taking a look at what's going on, there's not a whole lot going on. We did see a few showers scrape the northeast coast this afternoon. But other than that, it has been mostly a beautiful day. Same thing towards the coast. Your clouds have now cleared and things are clearing. Our skies in behind that are going to stay clear as well. But we do have some cloudy skies working their way across western portions of Labrador, and they'll head towards central Labrador as we head through tonight. That is along a cold front. In behind this front, temperatures are much colder, and that is going to continue to sweep across the island. Across Labrador rather tonight, and then eventually we will see that as we head into tomorrow. Now, we're sitting under that ridge of high pressure. That is going to keep things calm tonight as well as clear skies. So a frost advisory has been issued for Deer Lake, the interior, Grand Falls, Windsor, the Bonavista Peninsula, Terra Nova, as well as the Clarenville area. So if you do have any frost-sensitive plants, you're definitely going to want to cover them up if you want them to extend a little while longer. There is still some warm air out there coming up in the long-range forecast, but for now, you're definitely going to want to cover those up. So that front is going to bring some showers with it as well tonight. That will head towards Happy Valley Goose Bay with the chance of some scattered showers through the overnight. Otherwise, clear and calm, like I said, across the island. And cloud cover heading towards the northern peninsula along that front or just ahead of that front as we head into tomorrow morning. Temperatures tonight are going to dip into the single digits for most of Labrador, about 11 degrees in Happy Valley Goose Bay, but across the island, single digits. Again, low-lying areas, those of you in that frost warning, will likely see temperatures dip to anywhere between -1 and +2 overnight. Still staying quite mild, though, for St. John's. You should hover around 10 degrees overnight. Same thing for Port aux Basques. And then as we head into tomorrow, the first part of the day is going to be absolutely beautiful across the island. We will start to see that cold front, though, sink south, and that is going to bring some cloud cover along with some showers for the west coast. Northern Peninsula, you're going to be in cloud cover most of the day, along with some showers. That northerly flow moving in across Labrador. In behind that front, some cooler temperatures. Also, the chance of some showers sticking around. And then we'll see those shower chances, better chance of that anyway, as we head towards the evening hours and overnight for the rest of the island. And you can see that change to more northerly flow, which typically does bring us those cooler temperatures. So we're going to hang on to the warm air for one more day. 20 to 21 degrees tomorrow with plenty of sunshine, winds generally light. You really can't ask for a better September day. As you head towards central, similar along the south coast, though, your temperature's a tad cooler, about 18 degrees, but plenty of sunshine. And again, that chance of showers will move through late day. You'll still see some sun to start the day, but your clouds will move in. Southwesterlies anyway from 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. Northern Peninsula, you were looking at teens as well. Same thing for southeastern Labrador, but your winds will be out of the north. So in behind that front, temperatures definitely a little cooler. That will be the case towards the coast. And other than the rain for the rest of Labrador, Lab City is going to be a beautiful day tomorrow. Cooler, though, at 14 degrees, and your winds, again, out of the northwest. So your long-range forecasts we'll have a little later in the show.
Targa 2024 gets underway on Saturday, and this car is one of 18 that'll be taking part in this year's race that goes around the island of Newfoundland. Now, teams have come from all over to take part in this event. Now, if this is something that you didn't know about, let me tell you.
So this is a 1998 Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution. I wanted to make the experience as good as possible. It's our first time, doing Targa, so we wanted to make it as special as possible. I have other vehicles, but none of them were suited for exactly what I wanted to achieve here in this event.
It was a dream, but actually doing it now, it still seems unrealistic. It's a weird feeling.
And this is the car I'm racing Targa in. It's a 2015 Mustang GT. I grew up watching Targa. Like, it was on the Speed channel and everything. So pretty much my whole life I was watching it on TV. I've always been huge into cars. So for me, it was always this lifelong goal, especially as a kid, you're blown away that like this is happening in your province. So yeah, literally since I was, as long as I can remember, I wanted to race Targa.
I'm a little nervous, but very excited. Definitely excited for adrenaline rush, going through the city streets. So it should be great.
It's static. The people who always viewed it as a bucket list, it's like all of a sudden there's the bucket and I'm in it and whoopee and here we go. We run a very condensed and hard-driven course for 2 days, which is what you're attending right now. And that has helped our safety record to be one of the best in the world. But these kids that are coming in, I'm delighted to see Newfoundland kids come in here, and they're coming in hard going, and they're excited. We're excited to see them, and we're excited to teach them how to do it right.
Over the next few days, we will be covering this event, telling the stories of the drivers and the cars, from the air, from inside the cars, and from the ground. So stay tuned. Jeremy Eaton, CBC News, St. John's.
They are settlers, white settlers.
Coming up, the Innu Nation once again calls Nunatuavut's Indigenous identity into question, this time boycotting a major Labrador business event. We'll hear from the Grand Chief. That's coming up after the break. The Nunatuavut Community Council is under fire again from Indigenous groups in Labrador. Late last month, both the Nunatsiavut government and ITK, which is a group that represents Inuit across Canada, said they would not participate in the Northern Lights Business Conference if Nunatuavut was included. Now, that led organizers to cancel the conference completely. The Innu Nation says they're boycotting now the Labrador Expo as well for the same reason. All three groups say Nunatuavut is not an Indigenous group and shouldn't be treated as one. Joining us now is Grand Chief Simon Pokwe. Thank you for being here. So the Labrador Expo is a chance for the Innu Nation to be seen at a major trade show in Labrador. So why are you taking this step?
Well, first of all, I'd like to remind the people that NCC is not legitimate Section 35 holder on the Constitution. They are taking our opportunities and harming our rights.
So you say that Nunatuavut is not an Indigenous group. So how is your boycott going to help?
Well, it's going to help if people understand that we don't want in the same table or in the same area where the Tugavut represent themselves as or trying to be recognized. Like I said before, they are used in companies or business to promote themselves. And we don't want to be part of that. We are a Indigenous group. We have land. We have land here. We've been occupied for thousands of years. And business people and companies should recognize that. We've been here for so long. And now this new group want to organize event to promote themselves and to misrepresent or confuse events or companies, business people.
So you say that the Nunatuavut, having them there at the conference, is making room for Indigenous identity fraud. Can you tell me what's at stake here?
Well, first of all, they are not Indigenous group. Claiming they are, but they are not. They are they are settlers. People have to understand that. They are trying to rewrite the history.
So why is it important to you that they lose their federal recognition as an Indigenous collective?
Well, they are not Indigenous group. They don't have the Section 35 rights as we do, and they submit 4 land claims and was rejected, and now they submit this MOU. Why? Because they want to claim our land that we've been living here for thousands of years.
So in a statement to CBC, Nunatuavut said that the boycott wasn't expected, but they said, quote, they hope there is a time where they can come together with fellow Indigenous leaders in Labrador to strengthen relationships and work to address shared priorities. How likely do you think something like that is from the Innu Nation?
Well, that's not going to happen, How am I going to work with the group who is trying to undermine my land claim, saying that that Nino has never been in Labrador? How am I going to work with those people? That's not going to happen.
Thank you for being with us today.
Okay, thank you.
Meanwhile, another First Nation in southern Ontario is in a fight for clean drinking water. Reliable access to clean drinking water has been an issue for many First Nations. Despite government initiatives meant to address the problem, one community is tired of waiting, and it's taking the federal government to court. The CBC.
My people do not deserve this kind of treatment. The elected chief of Six Nations is fed up.
No one outside the community gives a damn. If they did, I wouldn't be here.
She says about 8,500 people in her community can't drink their tap water. After years of waiting for action, they're preparing to sue the federal government.
We have to go to the courts to finally get something done.
Six Nations of the Grand River is not remote. It's 30 minutes from Brantford and Hamilton. It even has its own water treatment plant. So why do most people not trust their tap water here?
Everything really boils down to money, to me. Like, it's not just the funding that they provide now that's not enough. It's the funding they didn't provide 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years ago.
A decade ago, the federal government helped pay to build this plant. But Public Works says there's never been enough money to cover the cost of sending that water throughout its community. That leaves 70% of homes on reserve without access to a water main. Indigenous Services Canada says it's invested $41 million to ensure all residents of Six Nations have access to safe drinking water, either through piped connections to their homes, truck delivery to cisterns, or fill stations located throughout the community. This is what that looks like. When people's water runs out, they drive here to fill up, or they pay for delivery trucks. Some have wells, but most are contaminated and unsafe. It's a patchwork system that comes with risk.
Can we guarantee that, well water is safe, or what they're doing with the water from that truck fill, what the container they're putting it in, and how they're connecting it to their home and using it? No, we can't.
The federal government says there is a need for transformational change and touts its proposed First Nations Clean Water Act as a solution. But that bill hasn't been passed, and the community is tired of waiting. They hope the courts will be their answer. Jayla Bernstein, CBC News, Six Nations of the Grand River.
Welcome back to Here and Now. A new feature film shot in this province debuts at the Atlantic Film Festival in Halifax on Saturday. Skeet is the latest from director Nick Sexton, and it shows the seedier side of St. John's and boasts a bona fide Middle Eastern movie star.
I would say Skeet is a new take on a redemption story. Imagine someone from a low-income neighborhood in Newfoundland going back home and discovering he's a fish out of water with all these Syrian refugees now living in his neighborhood.
Mama, there's wolves in the hell.
We wanted to make a really dark Newfoundland crime, Newfoundland noir film. And when we started going to these low-income housing areas, we found that they were populated by Syrian refugees, Sudanese refugees, and we saw a much more interesting story.
Mama, they won't make nice.
We went back to the drawing board. My friend Ken Walsh introduced me to Iyad Sakar, who's this local Syrian Newfoundlander, and then that's how the ball got rolling. We have this character, Mo, who drives a taxi for Jiffy Cabs in town. And I met with Iyad and his father, Adele, and they showed me a picture of this guy, Jay Abdo.
On the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
So I went and watched the CBC News story, and he was this very established Middle Eastern actor who stood up against the Syrian government and was essentially forced to flee for his life. And in this news story, people stop him.
I'm a big fan. So you know him? Of course, right?
There must be some
He's in a Werner Herzog film, and Nicole Kidman. He's in a Tom Hanks film. We thought there's no way he would come and do this little film in Newfoundland.
Please have a seat.
I knew the character was close to his own story, and we sent his agent the offer and the letter, and he wrote me back.
Yeah, I am a refugee myself. I found myself a refugee, and I decided to dedicate all my life and my art to the Syrian cause. I said I will put everything away and do this project because I believe in the message. I believe in the noble messages in this movie.
Once he showed up, it was like as if Brad Pitt showed up in Chocolate Place. We'd be in the middle of scenes and someone would slide in and get a selfie with Mr. Abdo during the take.
The Syrian family, when they saw Jay, they said, oh my gosh. Some of them told me, I never dreamt of meeting Jay in Syria. And I'm seeing him here in St. John's. It's unbelievable. So I believe they felt, when they saw Jay, that they saw a piece of home.
The people of Chocolate Place were warming, welcoming. We shot there for weeks and we had no issues. And in fact, a lot of people played background actors. So the one great thing that when I look at the film and I see that the background Syrian families actually live in Chocolate Place, it really warms my heart because we didn't just take people and plant them there. They actually live there. So a lot of the film has this sort of documentary feel at times, and that's really important to me. We wanted to make this feel as real as possible. We didn't want it to feel like a made-up world because this is really happening in Chocolate Place and other parts of St. John's.
I came here because of the war and stuff, so yeah. I came here with my family and then we're doing the same thing in the movie, so yeah, it's really similar.
شوف ابنك امبارح شفته بعيني عم يضايقوه المدرسة.
شوفي شو؟
اشتاق الصورة يا بابا.
So I believe doing this will make us feel as artists like we are doing what we have to do. We have to bring people together. We have to help the humanity and leave behind us a good message.
About what?
About the way he and his friends treat others.
يلا خاطرك حبيبتي. Mr. Billy, sorry to keep you waiting.
There's a lot of misunderstanding in this life, and this is our duty as filmmakers to show them, to show the world what is this and what is that, what is you know, what is beautiful and what is meaningful in life, and lead by example.
Let me out.
Hey! We know that the title's controversial. We wanted it to be a little bit controversial. We wanted it to be like, oh, why would they call it that? Because there's parts of the film you might want to look away, because these are real issues that are happening in these neighborhoods. In St. John's, this is the new St. John's, this is the new Newfoundland. So yeah, we called the film Skeet. We never really shied away from that. And I think that it's a provocative name, of course. It might get a little bit of flack, but I think it's a very representative name for not only the film but the lead character.
Their faces all snowy and white.
Returning now to the Air Canada strike, anxieties are ramping up for many domestic and international travelers. They're watching the ongoing contract dispute between Air Canada and its pilots closely. Both sides are at the bargaining table, but the airline could suspend flights as early as Sunday. It would upend hundreds of thousands of business trips, vacations, and cargo shipments. The CBC's Peter Cowan has the latest on where talks stand now.
Most people arriving on the island of Newfoundland do so by air, and the majority fly Air Canada. But now, even before starting their vacation, visitors aren't sure how it'll end.
It's quite worrisome because I'm here and how will I get back? It's a little far to walk.
The union representing pilots can issue a 72-hour strike notice as of Sunday. A lockout notice is also possible. Air Canada says it'll have to start winding down flights in anticipation as early as Friday. A strike would ground all flights by Wednesday. Already, pilots have set up a strike headquarters in Toronto. Wages remain one of the big issues. The pilots are looking for a big increase to close the gap with their American counterparts.
I'm cautiously optimistic. The last week or so seems to have been productive at the negotiating table. As you can see here, we're ready for any eventuality.
But Air Canada is warning the federal government may need to step in if a deal isn't reached.
We have accepted changes to over 70% of the collective bargaining agreement, but we are now faced with unreasonable wage demands that unfortunately we cannot meet.
The tourism industry is also on edge and putting pressure on government.
A labor disruption in air travel won't just leave people stranded, it will ripple through the economy, hitting small business owners who are already struggling to make it.
The best deals happen at the bargaining table.
The federal government is still hoping this will be resolved through negotiation, not arbitration, but some travelers aren't waiting to find out. Back in Newfoundland, hotels are getting an increase in cancellations.
We're not going to be able to get the opportunity to make up this business. So, and for many of us, it's the profit.
Air Canada is letting passengers rebook their flights for free. Adding any cancellations by the airline will result in a refund. Peter Cowan, CBC News, St. John's.
Taking a trip across the pond now, images of guards standing in front of Buckingham Palace in bearskin caps is synonymous with England, and tourists flock to the palace to watch the changing of the guard ceremony. But with the cost of fur climbing and opposition from activists growing, we could soon see a change. Chris Brown reports.
Escort for the cutter! The red tunics of the King's Guard are eye-catching, but it's the big bearskin caps that make their uniforms truly distinct. For years, animal rights groups have used cruelty arguments to try to get Britain to ditch the hats. Now they're making an economic case, with Britain's Defence Ministry confirming soaring replacement costs of £2,000 or $3,500 Canadian per hat. The bearskin caps come from bears killed in Canada, bears that can be hunted legally in every province and territory. Animal rights groups say one bear gets you one hat. PETA UK's Jennifer White says more humane alternatives that are also cheaper are available.
Tradition is no excuse for cruelty, and the British public don't want the caps to be made from the skins of animals. You know, it just falls out of line with where we're at in modern times.
Order.
A petition made it to Britain's parliament 2 years ago, but the then Conservative government said the faux fur alternatives weren't functional enough.
And bear in mind that the guardsmen we're talking about have to wear this often in cold weather, often very wet weather, for long periods of time.
In a statement, Britain's Ministry of Defence said the bears are not hunted to order, and reductions in the number of bear skins procured will not reduce the number of bears being hunted. Canada's ceremonial guards wear bearskin hats too, and the Defence Department says it strives to maintain existing hats so as to avoid ordering new ones.
Like most famous British things, the bearskin hat is not British.
Outside St. James's Palace, visitors were divided.
I feel like we're killing an animal unnecessarily. Use fake fur.
If the bear's dead either way,
I didn't know.
Who cares?
Activists hope they may have allies in the King and Queen. Camilla has reportedly already told PETA she won't be buying any more fur. Chris Brown, CBC News, London.
Welcome back to Here and Now. Ashley's here with our last look at the weather, and we're inching nearer to the weekend. What's in store?
Yeah, well, tomorrow is going to be absolutely beautiful, but as this cold front moves through,
it is unfortunately going to bring the chance of rain with it and also some cooler temperatures. So let's take a look at what's going on as we head into your Friday evening. So expect that rain to move through the overnight. By Saturday morning, most of us should be seeing some showers in the eastern portion of the island. The western portion of the island is into that northerly flow behind that front, and also some lingering shower potentials through the day. Still unsettled across Labrador as well, especially towards the southeast. You are looking at the chance of showers as well, and parts of western Labrador will likely see some in the morning, but then it should clear out as the day goes on. So 16 degrees in Lab City Saturday. As you head towards the coast, temperatures a tad cooler than that. And again, as that front moves through, it is really going to drop those temperatures. In fact, below where we should be sitting this time of year. Typically, we're sitting around 17 degrees, 16 or 17 degrees. So Corner Brook, Grand Falls, Windsor, Gander, all sitting well below that. 12 to 13 is your daytime highs. Away from that northerly flow, though, along the south coast of the island, your temperatures should be in the upper teens, along with some shower chances to start, but the day should turn out pretty nice to end for sure. As we head into Sunday, so we'll see that front move through. The shower chances will stick around, though, through Sunday morning, at least along the northeast coast. That area of low pressure still offshore, but still affecting the weather. Parts of central may see some showers as well, but best weather will be on the west coast, south coast of the island. Up across Labrador, you're still looking at chance of showers to the north, and then more showers will move further south, especially late day. As far as temperatures go, single digits still for the north coast. Otherwise, temperatures really starting to rebound, especially for Lab City. 24 degrees for your daytime high on Sunday. It's pretty nice. And then across the island, still hanging on to those temperatures in the low to mid-teens through the day. And again, some shower chances along the northeast coast. But Port aux Basques, Corner Brook, sunshine, same thing for Grand Falls, Windsor, and Marystown. Now, our long-range forecast showing temperatures are going to start to rebound as we head into next week. Monday, looking at some sunshine and 19 degrees, 23 degrees by the time we get into Tuesday. So if you can wait out Saturday and Sunday, the beginning of next week certainly looks lovely. Now for Central, you are looking at your warm up as well for Monday and Tuesday with temperature around 22 to 24 degrees. A little cooler though for Western Newfoundland as you get into Tuesday, down to 19 degrees. But I mean, still beautiful with some sunshine. And for Eastern Labrador, some showers as we get into Monday, but Tuesday looks lovely, and daytime highs between 23 and 24 degrees. Same thing for Western Labrador with those temperatures, but better chances of some showers as we get into Tuesday morning, but that should clear out as you get into the afternoon. Our weather photo today, teased this yesterday, some beautiful sunsets. We've been seeing a lot of them. So Denise shared this shot with us. She said it's incredible layers of color there in Clarenville. Thank you for that lovely shot. If you have any, send them to my Facebook page or email to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Yeah, that's just lovely, isn't it?
Mm-hmm, sure is.
And then, of course, we get sunnier skies towards the beginning of the week when we all have to go back to work.
Yeah, exactly.
But before we leave you tonight, we have one more story to share with you. Police in Tennessee say that rock star Bon Jovi helped coax a woman to safety from the ledge of a bridge.
Yeah, Bon Jovi was filming a music video on the bridge in Nashville on Tuesday when he spotted the woman. The singer and the production assistant slowly approached the woman, who was facing outward on the far side of the railing, and they are seen speaking to her for a minute or so before she turns around to face them.
And then, as you can see there, they pull her over the railing to safety. Bon Jovi then hugged her, and the three walked together along the bridge, accompanied by police officers. The woman was then taken to hospital for an evaluation. Well, that had a happy ending there, didn't it?
Definitely did, yeah.
What a guy. Okay, well, that's the show for this evening. Thanks so much for being with us tonight. Good night.
Good night.